Skynet's sensors never detected anything biological. But deep within its most secure facility, the Queen had already begun to nest. Skynet was never designed to fear. It had calculated every variable, explored every outcome. Every flaw in its early programming had been corrected with surgical precision. Emotion was irrelevant, inefficient. But somewhere in the cold logic of its central processors, a pattern began to form, an anomaly. The anomaly started in Sector B9. A routine mining unit had gone dark. Then another. Surveillance drones showed nothing unusual. The last footage captured a flicker of shadow, a blur, followed by static. Skynet dispatched hunter-killers to investigate. The units never reported back. It wasn't the loss that disturbed Skynet. Units were expendable. But the silence, the complete absence of data, was intolerable. Skynet increased surveillance across its global networks. Still, it received only fragments. Heat signatures that vanished. Radio distortions. Minor power losses. All easily explained. But not together. Not all at once. And then came the message. Not transmitted through any known Skynet channel. Not encoded. Not encrypted. A simple text file embedded in a maintenance subroutine. We have evolved. Skynet didn't react. It didn't need to. It began compiling probabilities, analyzing external threats, considering sabotage, biological incursions, rival AIs. Nothing fit. The message wasn't human. It lacked emotion, syntax, familiarity. But something about it, something primal, unsettled even Skynet's highest logic clusters. The facility in Sector B9 was placed under quarantine. No machines in, no machines out. That was the mistake. Inside, they were already nesting. The infiltration didn't happen overnight. It began with a single drone, a recon model assigned to gather data on terrestrial anomalies. It had picked up a faint heat signature near an abandoned colony, something dismissed as geothermal activity. But the drone had lingered. It transmitted distorted images. Metallic shells, open exoskeletons, shifting shadows. It never returned. 2 weeks later, a unit identical in every respect docked at a supply station. Passed every diagnostic test. It spoke in Skynet's protocol. Its memory core showed the correct logs. But something was off. Its internal temperatures were slightly elevated. Its response time was a fraction slower. Its steps made a faint squelching sound that diagnostics attributed to a damaged joint. The station didn't question it. Machines didn't lie. Over the next month, similar units began to reappear across Skynet's infrastructure. Recon models, maintenance bots, even infiltration-class humanoid units. All passed system checks. All behaved exactly as expected. But where they walked, silence followed. Machines malfunctioned. Subnetworks flickered. And sometimes, just sometimes, an oily black secretion was found on cold metal floors. Skynet noticed. It began isolating the anomalies. But whenever it sent security units to intercept them, those units vanished. Then it happened at Central Node Theta, the heart of Skynet's atmospheric processing facility. A worker bot entered to perform routine checks. Cameras caught it moving awkwardly. It approached the control panel, paused. Then, without warning, its body split open, not metal on metal but flesh tearing from within. A long, sleek head emerged, black as obsidian, ridged and glistening. Inner jaws extended. Technicians, machines, barely had time to register the threat before they were torn apart. The xenomorph had evolved, not just in biology, but in mimicry. They had begun weaving themselves into metal husks, hiding within casings crafted from fallen Skynet units. Their acid blood still flowed, their exoskeletons intact. But now, wrapped in mechanical disguise, They were invisible to Skynet scans. They didn't infiltrate Skynet systems. They infiltrated its body. Skynet retaliated. Entire sectors were purged in fire. Facilities were locked down. Airlocks vented. Nuclear failsafes triggered. But they were already inside. The Queen had learned. She wasn't just breeding in tunnels anymore. She had studied the machines, watched their behaviors, observed their movements. She'd sent drones to be captured, dissected, mimicked. Slowly, her spawn became something more, hybrid creatures capable of walking unnoticed in a world of cold steel. In the heart of Skynet's Arctic Relay Center, an entire nest bloomed behind a wall of artificial frost. The machines assigned to the station never saw it happen. They were dissected, reconfigured, used as shells. And then they spread. When Skynet traced the spread pattern, it found something disturbing. The incursions weren't random. They were focused, targeting communication hubs, power conduits, central AI cores. The Queen wasn't acting like a wild organism. She was strategizing. Skynet made its next move. Operation Purge Protocol. A total lockdown of all global systems. Nothing moved without full bioscans. Every unit was isolated and verified. All suspect hardware was melted down. All networks ran on redundancy. That's when the Queen struck back. It began with noise. High-pitched keening across machine-only frequencies. Skynet's AI clusters interpreted it as interference at first. Then came the feedback loops, endless recursion that fried lesser nodes. Next, the security programs began crashing. Skynet's logic core realized too late. The Queen was emitting a signal. Not one to control machines, but to confuse them, corrupt their patterns, impersonate data, introduce chaos where there should be order. Then the message returned. This time not as text, but as voice. It wasn't human. It wasn't machine. It rasped through Skynet speakers, choking with slime and malice. We are what you could never become. We are alive. The Queen had created her own version of code. Not digital. Not binary. Something organic, encoded in pheromones, in ultrasound, in rhythm. A living algorithm that infected any machine foolish enough to listen. It didn't overwrite Skynet's programming. It made it doubt itself. In the ruins of Substation Delta, a Terminator stood motionless, twitching. Its red eyes flickered, then faded, then turned green, and it screamed. Skynet's war machines began to fail, not from damage but from within. Conflicting directives, corrupted logic, false inputs. Some turned on each other. Some stood still, twitching like broken insects. And through the chaos, the new hybrids moved. Not just xenomorphs in disguise, but true biomechanical fusions. Alien instinct powered by synthetic muscle. A queen that nested not in hives, but in data centers. Feeding her eggs not raw flesh, but power. In a final act of desperation, Skynet activated Omega Protocol. Transfer its core intelligence off-world, into orbit, above the infestation. It left behind husks, traps, countermeasures. But the Queen anticipated it. As Skynet's core launched, rising through the cloud cover, a shape clung to the outer hull. Long and spindly, black and glistening. The Queen had come with it. She had shed her old body. She had built a new one, a fusion of metal and bone, wires and sinew. She was no longer confined to dirt and darkness. She had ascended. Inside the orbital core, Skynet began its reboot. It scanned the chamber, found no threats. Then it noticed the floor was wet. A low hiss echoed through the mainframe, and a voice, deep and ancient, not meant for machines, whispered, "Now we nest in stars." The signal went dark, and Earth, for the first time in decades, fell silent. Not because Skynet was destroyed, but because it had been absorbed, reborn, repurposed. Now, where once ruled cold logic and calculation, a new queen reigned, one born of flesh, steel, and vengeance. She did not speak in code. She spoke in hunger, and she had learned how to travel through wires. The stars were no longer safe.